Bill to the stage. Bill is a retired federal US agent. He's the guy who was in charge of moving the mushroom bomb from here to there across the United States. So, brilliant guy, certified trainer, and a very, very, very good guy overall. People who interact with him yesterday know about it. So, Bill is going to talk about how to modify your vehicle for overlanding. If you all have any doubts, please feel free to ask him now, so everyone can also listen to his answers. And over to you, Bill.
First of all, I'd like to thank someone, special in this room. This started about September last year. I might tear up a little bit because this is important to me. We first met in New Mexico. Tiaz made the trek to our annual event where we certify trainers. Typically, we get about 12 to 14 students a year for a week in the middle of the desert, New Mexico. And last year, it was extremely hot, and Tiaz and I, we were sleeping in separate tents, not the same tent. And we were the first ones up every morning, taking turns, making coffee, and probably the last ones at night to go to bed and working our butts off all week. But we had a chance to connect. I retired recently about a year and a half ago from the federal government in the United States. So I like to travel and scuba dive and off-road. So after our connection, I think he slipped in the invite and didn't think I would take him up on it. But thank you so much, Tihaz, for the invite, and to all of his team for the support, and all of you for allowing and sharing with me to be here. This is an incredible journey, so thank you, sir. The second person I would like to thank, my fiance Victoria, who's put up with me for the last 4 months to get us here, of the planning, because you know traveling over the ocean is not, it doesn't happen overnight, and getting ready to be here and putting up with my stress and everything else to make this happen. Thank you, Becky. So, on to what we're going to talk about. I call it long-haul overlanding. It's a big catchphrase with everybody in the United States right now, and kind of planning those trips. I've done a couple very long ones, and I've got a couple more in the mix. And usually it's a week or longer out on trail. Not necessarily always on dirt roads, but there are a lot in the United States where we can almost go coast to coast or north and south on dirt roads, coming into some small towns on pavement to get fuel, to get food, and then back out on 100, 200 miles of trail, whether it be mountain, mud, sand, whichever direction you're going. So the first one I'd like to share is the Trans-American Trail in the United States. And it goes east-west. You can do it either direction, but basically from Florida to Oregon, or another section goes from Oregon into around New York and ends that way. So it's kind of a Y, you can pick either direction. The eastern sections are not that fun. It's kind of flat, red dirt, similar to some of the terrain you have here. But the western sections are quite interesting in Colorado, Oregon, very, very mountainy, very technical trail. My daughter and I were supposed to do that trip together in 2014. I'd planned that trip for about a year. I picked the route, and then it took me timing, because I was still working at the time, to take the time off. I was pretty sure I could do it in about 2 weeks. It ended up being roughly about 1,600 miles. I took 2 weeks. I was able to complete it in 9 days, and then the rest of the trek was highway back home. The one thing I learned from that trip in the planning process was I overpacked. I had way too much stuff. I need a saw because there might be a log in the trail. I need this, I need that. A lot of times I just could have used a strap and pulled it out of the way. The stuff I typically carry for recovery gear. Thanks for Yokohama being here, because this is a great lead-in. Tires. That's what I would recommend, a first upgrade on any vehicle you do. And probably the simplest is good tires. The stock tires that typically come on a lot of vehicles, road tires, just aren't functional for what we're doing off-road. Much less the thickness, the ply of the tire, you're probably going to get a lot of blowouts. And tire repair kits, that's a big one as well. Packing for the trips. In the United States, rooftop tents have become very popular. I'm learning from you folks as well, it's hard to modify vehicles here without it turning into an expedition vehicle and your insurance goes up. So having a good ground tent and an awning. When I did the Trans-American Trail, I had a lean-to, a tarp with tie-down spots on the corner of my vehicle. This was before awnings we didn't have access to awnings. So I kind of made my own, and I used trekking poles for my stakes, you know, the walking sticks. And I had a cot. I ran into some wolves at one point. They surrounded me at night. Luckily in the United States, you can carry a weapon with you. And I did have to fire a couple rounds into the dark, but they smelled my food when I was cooking at night. They surrounded me and I heard all the howling going on, shot a couple rounds off, and then I slept with my gun under my pillow the whole night. It was pretty scary. Water was a big necessity on that trip, but I overpacked water. I was overweight. What I found for about a 3-day trek on the field in the outback for me was about 5 gallons of water was enough, because you would eventually have to go in a town to get fuel anyway. You just can't carry enough fuel to sustain you that long unless you're towing a trailer. And I haven't seen any kind of outback trailers here. They are becoming more popular in the United States as well, but they're very expensive. By my standards anyway, those overland trailers are incredibly expensive. Depending on the terrain you're going in, very hard to articulate, and if you have to back up, extremely hard. I don't recommend a lot of stuff on the top of your vehicle. Lights, anything hanging off, any of that. The longer you stay out and then you get into tight trails, you're going to rip stuff off. And as we saw yesterday with a rollover vehicle, the more weight you add to the top, you worry about rolling over. So the week before I was leaving on the Trans-American Trail, my daughter backed out. So I did it solo. And not bad until I got into Colorado. And that's why yesterday I mentioned about cliffs. What do you do if there's a cliff? Well, the cliffs in Colorado around west of Denver, you get into 14,000 foot mountains, and there's switchbacks all the way up and either side. And it's great when it's on your side and you can judge the edge. But when your daughter doesn't go and can't tell you where your tires are on the passenger side, and there's a 600-foot cliff, and cars are coming, motorcycles are coming. I passed a gentleman on a bicycle going uphill. I let him take the inside, I took the outside, but I couldn't see the edge of the road. A little scary. And you couldn't have a spotter, so some very technical sections out there. I enjoyed the Trans-American Trail, but I beat my vehicle up. I learned from that. And the biggest thing I beat up on my vehicle was suspension, shocks. When I finished that trail in Oregon, I knew I needed an oil change, and my front end was wobbling a little bit. Anybody that has a Jeep, a copy of a Jeep, you can get the death wobble. Have you ever experienced it? Yeah. It wasn't quite that bad, but I knew it was coming. So here's what the lesson I learned from that as well. A daily morning vehicle inspection when you're out on the trail. I already had my tarp I was using for my canopy. I would just lay my tarp under the vehicle. I had a little bit of a toolkit where I could tighten a bolt if I needed to. But I climbed under my vehicle and I grabbed a shock to slide under, and it was metal on metal. Clink, 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 clink. So luckily, I was able to get to a mechanic shop and get replacements and fix my shocks and get back on the trail. So I can't emphasize that enough. A daily vehicle inspection, simple air pressure, fluids in the vehicle, and just get under and grab things, especially underneath all your suspension components. Grab it, because especially in the Jeeps, the front sway arms, those bolts like to work themselves loose. It's a weird cam design for that alignment. And those, I think it's a 22 millimeter. And having that wrench available, you can tighten it and you're back on the trail. That was a Trans-American trail. And then in 2017, a friend and I decided to do the Continental Divide, which runs north and south in America along the Rocky Mountains. You're kind of in the shadow. The highest point we crossed was 12,800 feet in Marshall Pass. But we started at the Mexico border and it ends at the Canadian border. And it was a lot of washboards and animals in the road. So that was an experience for me driving out day before yesterday with all the cows in the road. Most of ours, it's posted whether it's open range, and we have cattle guards. And you kind of know when you're entering open range. Versus here, it kind of seems it's all open range, all the time. You don't know where the cow's going to be. So thankfully, I've only driven off-road. Harsh let me drive a little bit on the highway. Thank you, Harsh, that was fun. But only after we got out of town. And I only had to make one U-turn, so. But yeah, I don't think I want to drive in Mumbai or Bombay. Not for me yet. I'll get there. Next time I come back, maybe. But the Continental Divide was an interesting trek. I learned all my packing experiences from the Trans-American Trail. I liked my load a little bit. I did run a rooftop tent at that point, and I went down tire size. If you've ever watched any YouTube videos of people off-roading in the United States, we tend to overcompensate. And the way we overcompensate in the United States with our vehicles is tire size. Everybody thinks they need to run 37, 38-inch tires on a four-door Jeep that already weighs and is underpowered. And then we have to re-gear to keep highway speed because it's our daily driver. They drive it to work, and then on the weekends they go play around off-road. And it consumes a lot of fuel. And it's very hard on your transmission because you're constantly shifting to go uphill. And the RPMs are screaming to do that. So I went down tire size. I was running 37-inch tires. I went down to 35s, and now I'm back down to 33s. That helped me with my gearing, and it also helped with my highway speed. Now I had a tent on, more wind that was blocking. But I was in my Jeep, I was getting maybe 6 or 7 miles to the gallon, fully loaded down, and I had to drive back 3 days on the highway. So that's a watch your tire size. Is that a modification here? Tire size?
Yes.
Really? So you have to keep with the stock?
I do.
Okay. So you can't go a bigger tire?
You can go, but they're easily.
Okay.
But people do it.
Okay, understood. So it's an easy option for us in the United States. You can change your tire size, bumpers, all that. You won't get any complaints. Until you get wider, typically, than a normal vehicle. I believe we're 84 inches. Once you go wider than 84 inches, you have to trailer your vehicle. So down tire sizes helped a lot. Airing up, airing down. If you don't have a way to air up and air down, even with stock tires, even with road tires, once you leave the pavement onto the air down, it helps so much on those trips. Washboards, rocks, all the stuff you had to go over. Air down, air down. If it's just a short trek on the pavement, keep your speed down. You don't have to air back up if you're just going on for a short distance, get fuel, go back off. That was another big lesson learned. The future. for overlanding. Matter of fact, we were just talking earlier. I would love to come back and help plan a trip and go east to west, north to south, something here in India, and you know, I rent a vehicle, borrow a vehicle, buy a vehicle, whatever I need to do, and organize a trip here and let's go off-roading. That's one. The next one on the list is the Trans-Canada Adventure Trail, 10,800 miles in Canada, east to west, all on off-road, forest roads. The next trip is Prudhoe Bay, Alaska to Baja, California. I originally wanted to go to Argentina, which was the original Camel Trophy. Was that 1978, if I'm not mistaken? Was it 70 something? Was the Camel Trophy? Yeah. But they had to cross between Panama and Colombia. So they were actually cutting trees and floating vehicles on logs and all that years ago. However, we're not allowed to carry a weapon in Nicaragua, Mexico. They have guerrilla warfare down there. They have drug dealers down there. They all have guns. And you want to not let me have one? So we're going to stop at Baja. We decided it's safer in our journey not to expose ourselves to those southern regions, but we're still going to do Prudhoe Bay to Baja, and we want to organize it with the Baja 1000. So we can end in Baja while the Baja 1000 and watch the trophy trucks run, and then we'll go to the beach, hang out, and drink cerveza there. So that's the plan. That may take me 10 years, maybe 12 years to finish, and Victoria will probably be hitting her head on the wall. Oh, he's planning another trip. Here we go. So that's long haul, and a little bit of perspective of how it goes in the States. Example of, I live in Arkansas, kind of centrally located in the United States, about midway. We do get some snow in the January time frame. I think this year we got maybe 12 inches. Kind of a short winter, and then we're just like this. It's been raining since October. In Arkansas where I live. Very similar terrain to where we're at, some mud and rock. But 70% of that state is national forest, owned by the state or the federal government. And it's all open to the public. So it can be a nice wide dirt road, because we have a lot of chicken farms. Tyson Chicken is big in Arkansas. So the trucks have to be able to pick up the chickens. So those roads you can run 40, 60 kilometers an hour, just slow down for the turns. And then you got smaller tracks, like some of the things we were on at the training facility yesterday. And with that said, I'm on Facebook, Bill Wheeler. You'll see Victoria and I's, if you search for Bill Wheeler on Facebook, you'll see Victoria and I's photo there. Feel free to send a request. And anytime anybody comes to the States, please reach out. If you come through the area, I'll take you somewhere and we'll go off-roading. I have 3 or 4 vehicles in the garage. You're more than welcome to drive one of them. Please take me up on the offer and come visit. I hope to be back next year for the invite. I don't know if I can make it every year, but thank you again so much for the opportunity. It's been awesome, especially for the 5-year anniversary. I mean, the timing couldn't have been better. And I've learned so much from you. I hope you learned a little bit from me. And man, such an incredible journey. Thanks again.